So it's like the Oscars or the Tonys, but like we're the only people that get to vote. Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice.
And today we're going to be recapping 2022. So that is what we played, what we want to play, what was the best.
Yeah.
We got some top lists, that sort of thing.
So last year we played 387? Is that how many?
382.
382 games, and this year we played 427 games, and 199 of those were different games. And that just like boggles my mind.
Had I known it was 199, I would have tried to play 200.
Yeah, we weren't even trying to beat it. Like I didn't even, like he has the stats, I don't. Like were you trying to beat last year's? Like did you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, okay. So you didn't go.
I think it's more just, it comes naturally when we're playing a lot more games.
Well, I was surprised because there was like during our Kickstarter, we went through a month without playing. So the fact that we went to 427, that like is crazy. There's not even that many days in a year.
Yeah, there's literally the full month of May. We didn't play any other games.
Yeah.
So.
But we're here to tell you what was the best and what like all the highlights of 2022 and what we're excited about as we're heading into 2023. So if that sounds like something you want to see, then just keep watching.
Okay, so starting off with what we played most this year, it should not surprise anybody that our number one is yet again Bark Avenue.
And Bark Avenue, for those of you who don't know, is a game that we have designed that is coming out this year. So that was our most played last year, and it's our most played this year as well. So that is hopefully a good thing for you. That should be our most played. But our second most played is
Scout. So Scout is a small box ladder climbing game. It's super fun card game that I always have in my backpack. We just talked about it in a video right before this. So yeah, it came out at dinners, parties, all over the place. The next most played is Kites. So this is a fun, fast game where you're flipping timers, and the timers represent kites you're trying to keep in the air. Next up was Disney Sorcerer's Arena, which is a new smash-up battle game with Disney characters. We got all sorts of plays in with 2 new expansions that came out this past year-ish as well. So that was a lot of fun. And the 5th most played, I played this one more than you did. That was Great Western Trail. So we did get a couple in-person plays in. My mom kind of even smoked us.
Yeah.
But the reason it is on here is that a while ago I got COVID and I was stuck in this room alone, so I played it on Board Game Arena over and over.
He got very good. I have a hard time playing with him now.
All right, so moving on, we got a whole bunch of categories that we used in our last video last year. We're going to do those again, add a few new categories, but first up is the best 2-player only game. So this is like only 2-player would you ever play these. And we had 9 standout games that we narrowed it down and chose from. So yours was?
So it's like the Oscars or the Tonys, but like we're the only people that get to vote. So my number one for 2-player this year, which is a big surprise that came in at the very clutch end in the last month of 2022, and that is going to be Beer and Bread. Now I know what everyone's thinking. Well, the few people that know. Farming, Mackenzie. What? This is a game about farming. Yes, but I actually really like it. I think the mechanics are really cool. So people are trying to make the most beer and the most bread, and it's like based on like the smallest of each of those. And I just really like the mechanics of this game, and the meeples are really cute, and just how the board art, how it's used also as storage for your different supplies. It's just really cool, and I've really enjoyed this game. So like this is what's fresh on my mind. We just played it again right before this video. I highly enjoy Beer and Bread.
Awesome. My number one best played 2-player game was Jekyll versus Hyde. This is a trick-taking game where you're playing as Jekyll and Hyde, and basically Dr. Jekyll is trying to get the players to win an even number of tricks, where Hyde is trying to get them to win a very skewed number of tricks, so either all the tricks or none of the tricks, and they're going to move closer towards insanity the more that they can do that. There's some cool stacking with some potions, and the suits will change order in terms of which ones are strongest based on the order in which they're played. So it's got some really cool, unique elements to it. It comes in a nice small box.
Cool. Next category?
Yes.
All right, so next category is going to be Best Cooperative. So this is like out of things that we played this year.
And we had 6 standouts that we chose from.
Yeah, 6 standouts. Do we want to do all the standouts or just go
just
ahead? Okay, so my number 1 for Best Cooperative is going to be Kites. Which is one that we mentioned is one of our most played this year. It's a lightweight game where you're trying to keep the kites up in the air with timers, and it's just been a hit with a lot of people. It's either depending on who you play with, it's either gonna be in arguments or it's gonna end it's gonna crash and burn, or you're gonna get closer together with the people around you. But it always makes, I think, for like an experience that people will remember. So I enjoy Kites.
Awesome. Mine is going to be Rear Window, which, a total surprise.
That would have been my number 1, but we're trying to pick different ones.
Yes. I wrote this one off, just kind of was like, I haven't seen the Hitchcock film, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a chance to play it, and we got it, and then we reviewed it. Oh my goodness, this game is so fun. It is cooperative or semi-cooperative, and you don't actually know at the beginning of the game whether it's fully cooperative or not, but it's an actually successful, people say semi-cooperative is not possible. This game proves that it is, because they still have to get them 9 out of 10 if it's semi-cooperative, which I think is kind of fun. But essentially, some player is the director or the narrator, and they're telling the story by opening and closing windows, and these got the blinds coming up and down, and you're trying to tell a story of, this person's in love with this person, or making a deal with this person, or they're the traveler.
It's basically, if you've played Mysterium, our whole thing with Rear Window, this is what Mysterium should have been. Yeah, so you're trying to guess at a different clues.
Way better than Mysterium.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Next category?
Cool.
Best party games. Okay, you go first with this one.
Yeah, so we chose from 7 different, really fun party games that we played this year. And my favorite was So Clover. My one big criticism about it is that there's not really a victory condition. It's more just one of those games that you play till you're bored and you're done and you're having fun. But essentially, you've got this clover leaf with 4 corners. You put these cards on it, which have words around the outside. And each side of the clover leaf is going to have 2 words. You're going to have to write a 1-word clue that associates with those 2 words. Then you're going to take all the cards off, shuffle in another card, and the other players are going to have to try to figure out in which direction and orientation those cards go back on the clover leaf. It's just a really fun word association party game. I love those kind of codenamesy games.
So my favorite party game this year, this isn't a new game, but it was new to me, it is Tapple. So Tapple is a game where you basically are trying to, there's a different question proposed, like names of fruits, and you go around the circle and there's a bunch of letters and you press down, mango, and I press down an M. Oh, banana, and people go around. But it's one of those games with the intense time pressure, all of a sudden your brain just turns to mush and you can't think of anything that you would normally be able to come up with all the time. And it is just a lightweight party game that lots of people have enjoyed.
Yeah. My favorite is when it goes into overtime and you have to do 2 or 3 words.
Oh yeah, it does get harder as it goes. Yeah.
Cool. Our next category is family games. So these are games that I think would be perfect to break out with everybody from the kids through grandma and grandpa. And we had 7 different games we put in this category.
Yeah. Okay. So for family games, my choice for this year is Catch the Moon, which we say is step aside Jenga. This is the new Jenga. It's where you're stacking different ladders up to the moon, and you have to try and balance them so it doesn't topple over, and each person tries and does it, and you roll a die and it says which way you have to stack them on this, and it gets crazy configurations, but it's just a fun lightweight family game that I really enjoyed this year.
Awesome. Yeah, mine for this category is going to be Mountains Out of Molehills. So this is a game by the op that the reason I love it so much is it teaches programming. The concept of I'm going to sequence a bunch of things together and then I'm going to move, turn, which I think is so important. Maybe because I'm a software engineer and that's what I learned when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I find it so good for kids. And then also just engaging for everybody else. You're little moles digging tunnels and it's pretty fun. It's got a 2-layer board.
Next category is heavy games, and in this category there are 4 new, at least to one of us, games that we chose from this year, and my choice for this year is Root, which is not a new game again, but it is the first time I played it crazy enough.
Converted.
Yeah, it's the first. I've always been like, I don't know, like the art style is not really my style. I've grown to like it a lot, but yeah, I really like Root. I played it several times this year, and I really like the factions, and I'm learning more about it. It's where everyone plays a different creature with a completely different play style, but it all integrates together, and you each have different winning conditions, and not winning conditions, you each have different play styles to achieve your winning condition. And I don't know, I think the design of it, I mean, a lot of people know Root, it's brilliant, so that's my choice.
Cool. Mine is Fall of the Mountain King, which is a game by Burnt Island Games, kit table board game. Oh my goodness, you're basically these like cave trolls, and the gnomes are invading the cave, and you're all gonna die. It's like Mines of Moria. But you win by going down in glory. So it's sort of an area control game, except you're not fighting the other factions. You're like helping each of the clans and trying to be the one who dies when the gnomes break in. Super interesting, just like twist on like no direct combat. But then also some really interesting mechanics around how you do action selection. There are these cards that you place to form your like ancestry, and you chain actions together. It's very, very cool. But I'm a huge fan of this game. I've enjoyed, got 2 big plays of this game this year. Definitely a big fan. Alrighty, next up is our small box games. Now we had 5 different small box games that sort of stood out to us this year, and mine again is Scout, which was our most played non-Bark Avenue game this year. So it's just brilliant. It's such a tiny package. I absolutely recommend this game to pretty much anybody.
Yeah. So my small box game this year is Holly Jolly, which I just discovered last month, like in Christmas, and it's a small box Christmas game where it's a set collection game where you're collecting like presents under the tree and different sets of ornaments, and I just think it's wonderful, and it's like you're grabbing from a stack of cards that looks like a Christmas tree, and it's just an actually Christmas themed game, which there aren't a lot out there that's like really well done. So Holly Jolly.
Very nice design. I love that game. Yeah. Cool. Our next list, oh my gosh, this is our biggest list of like, how are we going to choose this?
Yeah.
This is the best IP-based games.
You know, we cover a lot of IP on this channel.
We do, yeah. So we had 10 standouts this year. And among those, I gotta say, my favorite was Northgard Uncharted Lands, which you got right behind us. Because I really wanted to put this behind us because I don't want to put the game behind us, though. I want to play it again.
Oh, okay.
But I have played through the whole video game campaign, so it's based off of a video game, and this is like a love letter to that game, but also somehow an amazing board game. So they just did all the mechanics just so right, and it's a perfect little 4X you can play in less than 2 hours. I'm huge fan of it. My biggest criticism is that there's these expansions that feel kind of necessary because they were part of the Kickstarter and not part of the initial retail release, but those are coming out in the next year.
And my favorite for IP this year is going to be Big Thunder Mountain. I thought this game by Funko Games was really nice design that I don't think got a lot of attention, and I just think it did so well when they didn't have like Thunder Mountain doesn't have that big of a theme to go with on the Disney ride, but I think Thunder Mountain, the game, did such a nice job, and I think the creativity with the marbles running down the mountain is really cute, and bravo, I think it's the best done IP game I played this year. Next
up, we have high player count games. So this is 4 games that we really liked that you have to have at least 7 players. It allows at least 7 players. So yours was?
Mine was Ready, Set, Bet, which is a betting horse racing game. So think like the Kentucky Derby, and everyone's like, and you're throwing down bets like as like the horses move along their track, and it's really fun with lots of people at the table because everyone's like calling out their bets, and once someone takes a bet, like puts down their chip, that chip is no longer gone. So it's the thought: do you put it down early in hopes that you pick the right horse, or do you wait until the end but maybe those spots are gone? Yeah. And I think the energy with a lot of people, it's just a really good game.
It really works when you have a nice announcer too, who's like, and the 6 is pulling ahead and the 7's right behind. Yeah, it's a fun one. Did they actually play the William Tell Overture at horse races? Does that happen? We play it during the game.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, Mine for the high player count games was a total surprise. That was Wingspan Asia. So I did not picture Wingspan as a game I'd want to play with 6 or 7 people, but Asia implements this like 2 players are going at the same time, and there's this simultaneous flock mode with 2 dice trays and all this stuff. What it did was, you know those cards in Wingspan where it says, if another player does this once between turns, I can also do this other thing. That became this super fun, viable strategy because you're now paying attention to 6 other people, and also because of 2 players going at once, you're going every 3rd turn. So you're not having to wait very long for your next turn.
Yeah.
Somehow I was playing more often and I was doing more stuff to the point where I like never had downtime, which I just loved.
Yeah, and it's like if like someone across like does something, then it has a reaction to what you're doing. I thought Wingspan Asia, I almost put it as my favorite 2-player game.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was a great,
very strong contender.
Very great 2-player game. So yeah, Wingspan Asia were all great on big player count and small player count.
And for those who don't know, it works as a standalone 2-player game, so you do not need to own Wingspan.
Yes, that's
which
cool
is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we did almost put it in the 2-player, but I think we decided because we put it in the 7-player, we'd pick something else.
Yeah.
So
cool. Up next we have surprises. So this is like, we came into it not having like a high opinion about it, or maybe didn't give it much thought, or like something like that. So
or just like the biggest gap between how much we thought we'd like it and how much we actually liked it.
Yes, like neutral feelings versus like, yeah, this is pretty good game. And mine this year is going to be Disney Sorcerer's Arena Epic Alliances. And dude, I'm surprised. Like, and
so good.
like, I did not think it was going to be as good as it was. Honestly, I don't know why. I just like
probably because it's ported from a mobile app.
I think so. It's like based on a mobile app, but it is like it competes with me like with Unmatched. Like it like does a really good job. So it's like you get to like, it's like almost like Super Smash Bros. Or Unmatched, like where you're like taking your villains and your heroes, and everyone's like, you draft them like it's a dodgeball team and they fight each other. But I think it's like actually like harder than Unmatched. That's what I've said before.
More complex,
more complex, more things to think about. Like you have to actually be paying attention to do well. Unlike Unmatched, which I feel like you kind of just do whatever and like do pretty well. But
you're activating symbols from cards in your discard pile and some other cool mechanics.
So yeah, Disney Sorcerer's Arena was a big surprise for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that one too. My biggest surprise this year was Clank Catacombs. So Clank, just it's dungeon game, deck builder. I'd seen it for years, and I was at PAX Unplugged, and a bunch of people were just talking all about Clank Catacombs. One of my friends bought it there, so we played it at the convention. And I went and got it first thing in the morning when the convention hall opened the next morning. Like, it was so much fun. You're basically running around this dungeon blind, like picking up and hoarding as much treasure as you can and trying to make it out before the dragon kills you. And that like push your luck at the very end of the game is just like so fun.
He actually said to me at PAX, he's like, okay, Mackenzie, I'm sorry, you have no choice in this matter. I'm buying Clank Catacombs.
I don't do that often.
Those are very select cards that he pulls that out.
Yes, I was like, just trust me, you don't need to see it. I'm doing it anyway.
All right, so we only have a couple more categories left, and so now we're going to move into, so there's surprises. Now this is the Fallen. So this is games we used to be hot about, but they've kind of waned on our list. So what is that for you?
Yeah, for me, I might have cheated a little. We've gotten pretty good at knowing what kind of games that we're really going to like.
Yeah.
Disney Gargoyles, I still strongly recommend it, but once you've played through the campaign, there's not a whole lot of replayability. So we've played through the campaign, we've done all the missions. It's something that I'd be willing to kind of remove from our collection at this point, so that somebody else can enjoy it, because I think somebody else should go play Gargoyles and have fun with it.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the need to play it anymore now that we beat the campaign.
Oh, what we're going to say about Gargoyles. So we have completed the campaign and the game is in perfect condition. And we want to pass it along to a good home. So if you are watching this part of the video, the first person to message us on our Instagram, which is at TerreDice Games, and say who your favorite Gargoyles character is, we will send you our copies of Gargoyles. So,
if you live in the U.S.
And if you live in the U.S. So that's the only time I'm going to say this. So if you're paying attention, message us on Instagram and we might be able to get that game to you.
And we'll pin a comment once we've sent that out, so you'll know if it's already been taken.
Yeah. Yep. So, and then my Fallen is, so this is my fault, and Jonathan does not agree with this, but so we're keeping it. But that is Dinosaur Rawr and Right. I played this game a lot, and it just is not do like the same for me. I thought it was interesting, but the more I play it, it's nothing's wrong with the mechanics. I think I've just grown tired of it, and dino themes for me in general, I don't stick on them very long. But yeah, so there's nothing in particular wrong with the game. I've just grown cold on it, and it's not going to be a game I immediately say yes to if someone asks me if I want to play it.
Okay, so we've said what was fresh and what was new and what was fun. I want to take a moment to talk about what's still gold.
Yeah.
Like games that we sometimes talk about them on the channel. Also, there's some games in here, I think, there's a few we've never talked about because like we've just had them forever and we just play them.
Which is hilarious because they're some of our favorites.
Yeah. So my top 5 still gold. Number 1 is Everdell. There's no surprise there. Number 2 is Scythe. I absolutely love this game. It's still one of our top played games every year. Number 3 is Calico, which I just love that puzzle of your little quilt you're designing. Crunchiest puzzle ever. It hurts your brain every time. And then Great Western Trail, my COVID game. And then Paris, La Cité de la Lumiere, one of my favorite 2-player games.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. This
you
little
really
small
like
box.
that game. I think it's beautiful, but you really love that game.
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite that we played this year that are still gold in my eyes, that classic, the 7 Wonders Duel, which is OG going back to our first video we ever did with Best Board Games for Couples. I still stand by that as my favorite board game for couples. Lovely game. I think it's better than 7 Wonders. Just like the battle is done lovely. Azul Summer Pavilion. Azul Summer Pavilion is my favorite out of all the Azul series. Beautiful. Splendor. Classic gym trading.
Classic.
I am always down for some gym trading. If you want to gym trade with me, I will play Splendor with you. And then Viticulture. Obsessed with the components. I will drink wine. I'll drink wine and then I'll place it down on the ground because Jonathan would be terrified if I had a glass of wine on the table. So I love the components with viticulture and the gameplay. Beautiful. And then Gloomhaven. We are still making our way through that mission. Oh, good golly. We are going to finish that mission. I actually went into labor after we played our last mission of Gloomhaven.
Might work for you.
Yeah, maybe it works for you. Maybe we can play Gloomhaven and you too can go into labor. So fun fact. Jonathan had just set up the next mission because he was like, I was like, you can go ahead and set up the next mission. I'm sure this baby's not going to come.
I set up the whole thing.
Yeah, and then 20 minutes later, Charlotte came a-coming.
And then I tore it all down.
So, all right, so that is my gold. So,
speaking of Gloomhaven, comebacks.
Yeah, comebacks. Okay, so that's yours.
Yeah. So these are games that we took kind of a break from, and we're playing more now.
Yes.
And my numero uno is Gloomhaven. We are playing it a lot more now. We took almost a year off of it. And then we've just gotten a bunch of plays in.
It was our COVID. Our campaign name is COVID-19 Days and Counting.
Because it had been 19 days since COVID started.
It had been 19 days we had been quarantined in New York City. That's like when we started it. But yeah, so it's definitely a comeback. My comeback is Trek 12, which is a game that is like that it's a roll and write game, and it's actually turned into one of my favorites. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, you know what game I want to play? Trek 12. I hadn't played it in a year. And I just played it again 2 days ago or a couple days ago, and I love that game. Like, it's really cute. Like, yeah. So we did a whole review of it, so you can go check it out.
Oh, yeah. I think that goes to show, like, we do play a lot of games, but we mean when we tell you in a review that a game is good, like, we're going back and we're playing these things because they're so much fun. So next up, we have comebacks wanted. Like, we want this to come back. We want to play this again.
Yes. All right, so what's yours?
My number 1, I think I've even asked to play it like 3 or 4 times recently. That's Pan Am.
You have asked,
I love this game. It is sort of like Ticket to Ride with bidding and planes, and like it's hard to describe, but it's this really, really cool game by Press Barrel Hall. Just really nice history in it, cool like newspaper headlines for each of the global events that happen. And this really fun mechanic where like the stock price is either going to go up and down every year, and like some people have forecast into that. And your ultimate goal is to like get bought up by Pan Am.
Yeah. So my coming back to, like, I want to make a comeback is Robinson Crusoe, which is a wonderful game where you're trying to like survive, but like as a group. It's a cooperative game. The reason I don't think it's like, I love this game, but we never get it out to the table because it has such a big setup and it is a rather difficult game, and I don't even know if you can play it too. Can you?
You definitely can.
You can.
Yeah. I would have to read the rules again.
Yeah, but like I think it's better a higher player count. So we haven't been prioritizing it, but it's seriously one of my favorites. I love the immersive aspect of it. So Robinson Crusoe is one of the ones I want to do.
Very good. Cool. We have 2 categories left. The first one is games that we're looking forward to. These are games that have shown up like December or recently that we really want to play.
Okay, so mine is going to be a Kickstarter that just arrived, and that is Heroes of Barcadia, which is a drinking game. Could be any sort of drinking that you choose in your cup. It could be water, but it's basically like your health points are determined by like every time you get hit, you drink that, and that's like as your health is going down, and so you get a cup. And then I thought it was so creative when I opened the box. The rule book is like that restaurant style, like, so it's waterproof
menu.
Yeah.
All the coasters are waterproof that you're moving around.
So creative. So I can't wait to get a group of people to play that game.
Yes, that's gonna be a whole lot of fun. And my most looking forward to game is the Wolves. So this is a game by Pandasaurus where you are territorial wolves and you're flipping over these terrain tiles that allow you power to move into certain areas. And that's going to limit what your future moves are. And I love games that sort of like box you into a corner and what resources that you have available at any given time, especially when there's an element of risk involved like that. So I think that's going to be a really fun one. Also, the components are gorgeous. The art is awesome. So very excited about that one.
Cool. Okay, and the last category is the Shelf of Shame category. Now, if you don't know, our Shelf of Opportunity, as we like to say, and like it lives right here. We actually have, like, can you even see it?
Yeah, you can
it's like a whiteboard right there, and those are a list of the games that we own but we have not played. So this is what we want to get off the Shelf of Shame. All right, so mine is actually, so up until a couple days ago, it was Tzolk'in, which is over here, the Mayan calendar game. It was that, but we actually got to play it, and I love it. That was on our Shelf of Shame forever, and I've been dying to play that game, and we finally got around to doing it. Wonderful game. But since I played Tzolk'in, my second one after that I want to do is Tortuga 1667. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So this company, they make their games inside facade games inside that looks like a book, but you open it up and there's a game inside. And I played Bristol, but I really want to play Tortuga, which is like a pirate theme game. So that's the next one on my list.
I think that's going to be great. I'm excited for that one. Cool. My number one on my Shelf of Opportunity is my father's work. So I picked this up at Gen Con. It is a super thematic, immersive worker placement game where you are the like grandson of a mad scientist, Victor Frankenstein, essentially. And you are going through various different campaign missions on this evolving world where the terrain is changing. It's super interesting, but more importantly, it's just like eye candy. It's like
it's beautiful.
Metal gears and glass jars and all these nice components. It's really just like, I wanted to be that person at Gen Con walking around with a big like carton of like the big game, and this is that game.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I'm excited to play it. All right, everyone, and that concludes the award ceremony of our top games that we played in 2022. I am just so thankful for the amount of games that we're able to play. I feel super grateful for that. And there were some amazing ones there.
Indeed.
Like, honestly, like the board game industry is like so cool that like everything is coming out so well, and I'm really looking forward to all the great games and exciting things happening in 2023. This is like, can't wait. So if you like this video and if you want to know about more videos we have coming, make sure to like it and hit that subscribe button and that bell so you can be notified whenever we put out a new video. We are trying to up our content to 3 videos a week, so be sure to look out for that. And as always, thank you so much and happy playing!